What up, our space fam? Today we've got a little story with some holiday cheer. Let's listen in and see what's going on. Cheating wife ruined family and Christmas. Why does she expect me to be okay with her behavior? This doesn't seem like it's going to go well. My wife, 37 female, got a new job 4.5 months ago. She also made some new friends. I, 36 male, didn't really like them. They were all hardcore feminists, professional, victim, social justice warrior types. They are women who will yell at you for opening the door for them, or not opening the door for them. You can't win either way. In the beginning, I sort of laughed it off, but during the last 2 months, I noticed some disturbing changes in my wife. We have been married for 11 years and have 2 kids, 10 female and 8 male. It got worse and worse. She would accuse me of all kinds of nonsense, like I was born evil because men oppress women historically. Say what? Whatever I did for her, things she would normally appreciate were all of a sudden reasons to have a fight. It was all nonsense. I would try to be patient. These arguments would usually end with me saying something like, "But I haven't done anything bad towards you. The only thing I am guilty of is loving you." It would usually send her murmuring. Then the next day, she would be back trying the same thing again with slightly different arguments. Then about 5 weeks ago, I got this sharp gut feeling that something was seriously wrong. She came back late at night without telling me she would be back late. I couldn't reach her phone. She was rather drunk and she acted distant and cold. The next day, she would just be dismissive and tell me I was being controlling, that I read too much into things. This happened a few more times. I tried to snoop on her phone, but didn't manage to find anything definite, but I suspected she had deleted a lot of her messages. I did find a thread with one of her new friends. They were discussing how she would approach me, asking me for an open relationship. I immediately knew what my instincts were telling me. She was cheating. In the thread, my wife said she would talk to me about it on what is now the 2nd May of December. My kids are with their grandparents to celebrate Christmas, where we scheduled to both join them today. So anyway, she tries to start this conversation during breakfast, like it's just a thought out of the blue, to ask me what I think about an open relationship. Luckily, I was prepared. I was already recording. I had been reading a lot here on Reddit, and I knew there is really no way of saving this. My best possible outcome is to get out of this with some sliver of pride and self-esteem intact. From here on out, it's all about protecting myself and the kids. I didn't scream or yell. I just went directly into jaw-clenched interrogation mode. She was all cocky up until this point, but that evaporated immediately when she saw the look on my face. "Who is he?" "What do you mean?" Tries to look innocent like she doesn't understand. "If you want to have this conversation with me, don't treat me like an idiot, and at least you can be honest. If you can't be honest, what's the point of this conversation?" "What do you mean?" "If you lie to me now, we cannot have the discussion you want to have about our relationship. I can tell that you are hiding something. It's obvious." "So who is this guy you are screwing?" "I am not." "Oh my God, it's more than one." Don't. Just don't freaking lie. You have just totally destroyed my trust in you. I can tell you are lying. Either you are honest and we talk this through, or I divorce you. Our marriage ends right now. No arguments, no discussion, no nothing. Just divorce. Do you understand?" "But..." "Say it. Do you understand? Do you understand that if you lie, I will divorce you?" "Say it. Say it. Do you understand that I already know a lot? I can read you like a book. If I catch you lying, we are over. Tell me you understand." I understand." She proceeds to tell me about 2 one-night stands while out with her friends. I ask about their names, if they are married, if she wore protection, etc. They are both married men with kids. Then she tells me she is planning to sleep with a colleague at work, and that she intends to pursue this since it's good for her, and that I don't have any right to control her. What the F? I ask about the colleague as well, and get his name, his wife's name. He is married, but according to her, in an open relationship like she wants us to be. She continues that she will set me up with some of her friends. One of them are really keen, apparently. What in the actual F? I have seen this friend, and I wouldn't touch her with a barge pole. I tell her I am not interested. I ask for her phone, and she shows me the pattern to open it. While she went to the bathroom, I locked myself in my office. She freaks out, and while she was banging on the door, I ran recovery software on the phone for deleted content, and ended up with lots of painful evidence 30 minutes later. I also installed a spying app from an online service. When I came out, I gave her the phone and told her to leave. She argued a lot. I didn't really respond beyond single-word responses. She didn't seem remorseful at all through all of this. She was yelling at me that I was acting controlling, holding her back like men always held women back. That I never loved her, that she had every right to do this, that she expected me to just accept this, and that it wasn't a big deal, etc. I didn't argue back. I hardly said a word, actually. I just packed her stuff while she circled, yelling at me. I ended up at the front door, where I just stood silently until she ran out of steam. In the end, she reluctantly went to her parents' house. On her way down the stair, I told her she was single now, so she could do whatever she wanted. I wasn't controlling her anymore. My lawyer would be in touch in January. When she turned to respond, I just slammed and locked the door. I later watched as she discussed it with her friends. They were telling her how strong she was, demanding what she was entitled to, how she deserved better than me, that it was empty threats from my side, that I wouldn't go through with it. You want to bet? What really worried me was how they told her that if needed, she could just accuse me of domestic abuse. One of them explained how she had screwed over her ex-husband and taken everything from him by accusing him of abuse. I have ordered cameras to put up at my house now. I know now I have to record everything. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. I have never, ever threatened her in any way. Then she started messaging her affair partner to meet up. They agreed to meet at a hotel. I was absolutely stunned. I went online to try finding the affair partner's wife. It didn't take long. I got her to accept me as a friend on Facebook, and I told her everything, including the ongoing activity at the hotel. She thanked me and hung up. A few hours later, I got a video from her. She went to the motel and confronted them. From the screaming, this wasn't the first time her husband had cheated. "You effing a-hole! You did this to me again? To the kids again? I told you we were over if you ever did this again, you beep!" She walked into the room and filmed my wife getting dressed on the edge of the bed. I threw up when I saw that the first time. The affair partner's wife slapped her and cursed her out. I sent a message to my wife telling her that I saw the video from the hotel and that I never want to see her near me ever again. It's like she sees our interaction as some sort of pissing competition, where she, in her mind, is winning? She's totally delusional. I can't understand any of it. It's like she isn't connected to reality, like she doesn't really understand that we are divorcing. I logged on to my wife's family WhatsApp group and informed them that we are divorcing due to her infidelity. I thanked them for making me feel welcome and part of the family before disconnecting from the group. I've received a few calls and messages from her side, but I haven't read them or responded. I just don't have the energy for it. I called my parents and told them everything. My father messaged my wife that she wouldn't be welcome for Christmas. I am at my parents' now, and I have talked to my boss. He's giving me time off until mid-January to sort my things out. I have been monitoring my wife's increasingly frantic discussions with her new friends. I don't think it's dawned on my wife that she has lost her family, that her marriage is over, and that her new friends and her affair partner don't really give a crap about her. She has sent me many messages and showed up at my parents' house, demanding to be allowed to celebrate Christmas with us. My father threatened to call the police if she didn't leave. Now I am Googling divorce lawyers, crying my soul out. I think I've been in shock, but the pain has hit me hard since I got to my parents' house. I just can't make any sense of it. It just gives me so much pain to read their chats and interact with her. I have only responded twice to her messages. It doesn't matter what you say. I don't know who you are. You are not my wife. My wife would never destroy my heart and soul while smiling. We will get a divorce. I don't care what you say or what you want. You have no influence or right to demand anything from me ever again. We are over. Like I said, you are not my wife. I don't know you. My wife would never condemn our children to the pain and suffering of growing up in a broken home. You, whoever you are, seem to be proud of what you have done. My wife was loving, caring, considerate, my best friend. You are a self-obsessed, self-absorbed abomination. The messages stopped after the last one. The pain is absolutely unbearable at times. I wish this never happened. I wish I could get back with her like before, but I just can't do that to myself. This is the worst Christmas ever. I couldn't help myself, but I explained to the kids that mommy doesn't want to be a family anymore. She wants to be with other men and that we will get divorced. They are naturally distraught. Luckily, my mom and dad are here to help. They shower them with love and affection, while I am an absolute mess. I will try to get back on my feet for my kids' sake, but I am not going back to her ever. I wish I had waited until after Christmas so I could get them straight into counseling. I don't know what happened. I just blurted it out when they asked when their mother would come. I would never be able to look at myself in the mirror if I went back to her. The level of disrespect and callousness in her behavior is unforgivable. I am lost. I just don't get it. Why is it that she expects she can demand anything from me at this point? Is she mentally ill or something? What a crazy ride. But there's an update. I'm sorry that I haven't answered anyone or given an update. To be honest, I haven't had time to even read all the responses. There are so many of them. A lot has happened. I wish I could take credit for it, but the truth is, I have been a pathetic, sobbing mess since I last posted. I was sort of obsessed about my wife's chats with her friends. A lot of insane and hurtful things were said in these chats. What got me in the end, though, was when my soon-to-be ex-wife described, in very harsh language, how her marriage and especially her children were a burden in her life, that they had prevented her from being a successful woman living up to her full potential. She described how I, as her husband, was an oppressive POS, and that held her back from living a good life. Her family was the reason she didn't have a successful career, loads of casual sex, etc. I just broke. I couldn't handle it. I spent the next 30-ish hours reading and rereading every line of emails and chats I had over and over and over again. On reflection, she didn't provide any details on how we actually were the burdens and oppressors. It was just blanket statements, no examples or supporting arguments. In fact, I have never stopped her from doing anything. I pay for almost everything. The minimum wage she collects from her part-time job wouldn't be enough to support anyone, actually. I have supported her hobbies, dreams, and aspirations even when she did stupid effing class after stupid effing class that she would always drop out of halfway through. I made sure to show her I love her every day and appreciate everything she did for the family. I would romance her, take her out, be there for her whenever she needed me. I mean, if this is oppression, I would like to see some oppressions, please. Anyway, I digress. At some point reading, I just passed out. When I got up, my 3 best friends were in the kitchen with my dad making dinner. I've known these guys since I was a child. Let's call them Mike, Bob, and Frank. My dad had invited them and brought them up to speed. I soon broke down again, and I was completely out of it until Friday evening. Mike is ex-military. He lost his left arm below the elbow. We were actually all there for him when he was in recovery, and his wife bailed on him. Luckily, they didn't have any children. Mike has adopted 2 kids and got a very nice girlfriend a few years ago, so he did okay. He set up a Zoom call with his counselor that helped him when he went through recovery. He helped me a lot to understand what was happening with me emotionally. Even though he specialized in amputees, he told me most wives sadly bail when their husbands are injured, and his stories and examples helped me a lot, actually. He asked me to see my soul, identify spiritual self, as having a large part of it tied to my marriage and role as a husband. That part is dead now, and just like an amputee will suffer phantom pain in a missing limb, I will feel phantom pain from the dead part of my identity. We spent hours talking, and I have been steadily improving since. Bob is an executive in some IT security company. He never talks much about his job. I don't actually know what he does, but he is very well off. Bob called some law firm that is out on a retainer for the company, and Sunday morning, I was talking to a lawyer that I could never in my wildest dreams ever afford to even talk to. Bob has always been a huge nerd and was bullied a lot. He told me not to worry about the bill. He would cover it. He was happy to finally be able to repay me for the beatings I frequently took for him interfering with his bullies. Frank is a teacher in a private school for kids and is married with 7 children. Yeah, that's right, 7. My kids just love him too, and the rest of his family to death. Frank has been making sure my kids are okay and cared for while I get back on my feet and get my ducks in a row. Yesterday was a very hectic day. It started with an STD screening early in the morning. That bee gave me chlamydia. Another screen in 6 months. Effing urgh. My self-pity party switched to pure effing anger when I found out. That's it for me. Gloves off. Full custody. I will give her nothing if I can get away with it. The lawyer managed to track down the ex-husband of my wife's feminist friend that bragged about how she screwed him over. It was apparently very easy via the court documents. I wouldn't even have thought about that. I talked to him on WhatsApp. He thanked me a lot. But he also told me about everything this harpy did to him. Now I know what to expect from my soon-to-be ex-wife. It was sickening. I was ready for a fight. After our chat, I am preparing for war. It was heartbreaking hearing how he had been homeless and how he had hardly seen his kids in 4 years, all based on his ex-wife's lies. I accept how I am at a disadvantage as a man in the court system. I will make sure I have tons of evidence. My lawyer suggested a preemptive strike via a restraining order due to her negative and aggressive comments about males in general, especially for our son's sake. Growing up in a household with an openly anti-male parental figure is obviously very damaging, so I'm going for full custody. I told the lawyers to go ahead. She expects her to be served the restraining order today. I had a call with my soon-to-be ex-wife on Zoom. Keep in mind that she hasn't reached out to me at all since she showed up at the door to argue with my dad. She hasn't reached out to the kids or anyone else either, so it's not like she cares about any of us. The call was absolutely bizarre. She was all made up with massive cleavage. It was obvious she was trying to look her absolute best. I haven't seen her that dolled up for years. Throughout the entire conversation, she tried to bait me into a fight to get me angry. I managed to keep my cool. My lawyer had told me what to ask for. Apparently, it's very positive if attempts are made for an amicable divorce prior to filing for a contested divorce. I was recording it. I even told her I was. Still, soon-to-be ex-wife didn't disappoint. She started out with this absurd statement about how there are two types of penises, one that is roughly the same size, whether it's erect or not, and the other type that shrinks or grows based on whether it's erect or not. What in the actual... Who opens a call with their husband like that? Then, she mused about how she was looking forward to the end of the current restrictions so she could go out and investigate this more in person. I simply responded that I wasn't interested in her hobbies, that I was only interested in discussing our divorce. She got openly hostile when I didn't take the bait and get angry like she wanted. At one point, she told me she was going to the bathroom and muted herself. Then I watched as she conferred with her friends about what she could do with me. She cursed me out for nothing more than being a man several times. Throughout the call, I still had the strange feeling that she was seeing this as some form of game, that she was in control and that I had no other option than to put up and shut up and give in to anything she wants. We made zero progress on our actual divorce, so I concluded that, okay, fine, a contested divorce it is then. By the way, you gave me chlamydia, and unlike you, I haven't been sleeping with anyone else, so you better get yourself to the clinic. She just frowned at me like, yeah, right, I don't believe you. I seriously have no idea at all what is going on with her, and at this point, I no longer care. I sent the recording to the lawyer, and she was shocked to say the least. Everyone thinks my wife is insane at this point. Maybe she is. Since I own her phone and the subscription, I can actually use the chat logs as well in court. Turns out, it's fully legal to monitor my own device as much as I want. After our call, there was frantic discussion between the harpies, but I could finally put it aside. I no longer care what they talk about. The lawyer is confident we will win this thing unless there is something I haven't told them about. So there we are. It still hurts, but I can treat it as phantom pain at this point. I have abandoned feeling sorry for myself, and I'm going for the jugular. No prisoners. I need to protect myself and my kids. I am good. My kids will be fine. I will make sure they get therapy as much as they want. My soon-to-be ex-wife will soon be a distant memory, and I will start building a new, better life. You thought we were done? There's another update. I get a lot of feedback like, I am strong or winning in some way, or somehow getting out on top. Rereading my posts, I can see that my anger towards the situation filters through, and I could seem defiant and sure of myself. Truth is, I am not. I wish this never happened. I wish my family was still intact and that I had a long, lazy, comfortable life ahead of me with my wife as the kids grow up and start their own lives. No one is the winner here. My wife has gone off the rails and the entire train is burning in the ditch. I don't know what is wrong with her. She refuses to see medical professionals for possible mental issues, and she's acting like nothing is wrong. She still shows no remorse or regret. She acts like I am unreasonable for not just accepting whatever she wants, and she has hardly even talked to the kids since D-Day. I am divorcing her, taking action and moving forward with separating our lives because I have to. Her behavior has left me no choice, and by now, there is no way back. I wish so much this wasn't necessary. I can never trust her ever again, and I cry myself to sleep every night for my own loss and the fact that my children will now grow up in a broken home. It also breaks my heart that my children, in reality, no longer have a functional relationship with their mother. Question. How do you answer this question from your child? Why doesn't mommy want to see me anymore? Doesn't she love me? How the heck do you answer that? If anyone knows, please let me know, because I sure as hell don't. Every day I wake up and tell myself that my heart is already smashed into so many broken pieces that it can't possibly break anymore, only to be proven wrong all day, every day. My wife still doesn't know that I can monitor her communications, or she doesn't care. She is 100% convinced that I will never leave her, that my reaction to her behavior is totally unjustified. She keeps talking badly to her friends about me, our marriage, and our children. I don't understand why she hates us so much. We haven't done any of the things she accuses us of doing to her friends. As I mentioned before, my lawyer won a temporary restraining order against her. There was a hearing yesterday morning, and since there were no new direct threats, it wasn't extended. My lawyer suggested using the fact that she knowingly infected me as a threat to try to get her to agree to an undisputed divorce. I wish we could separate in a reasonable process. I hate the fact that I have to see her as the enemy and always assume the worst possible outcome. If she wanted to leave me, I would be able to live with that. But why force me into this extremely adversarial process? Why does she do her best to hurt the people that used to love her as much as possible in the process? What possible gains can she have from this? I would appreciate any insight on this. It just doesn't make any sense to me. If I go to court, I will probably have to pay her a lump sum for the equity in our house, etc. I will probably not be liable for alimony, and since she doesn't show any interest in the kids, I am hopeful I will win custody of them if it goes to court. Anyway, my lawyer suggested we try to get her agreement for an amicable divorce. I agreed, and we will meet with my soon-to-be ex-wife and her representative hopefully this week. The ex-husband that was defrauded by the lying harpy spends New Year's Eve with me and the kids. The injustice of the justice system against fathers is just incredible. Now I have no delusions of receiving a fair process if we go to court. His ex lied her head off, and the court just took it as fact. No proof whatsoever. He has hardly seen his children since. He has been forced to pay unreasonable amounts of alimony and child support, and has pretty much broken him. He has been contemplating ending things permanently. With the new evidence he gets from me, he has renewed hope. We both talk to my lawyer. She suggests he sits on the evidence until the meeting with my wife and her counsel. If he takes action now, it will show our hand that we have access to all their communications. My lawyer's goal is to divorce me and my wife as soon as possible, as smoothly as possible. Right now, I just hope I can get away from her. If she decides to fight, it can drag on for a long time. It's stressing me out. I just need to get free. I will post an update if I get a meeting or if we go directly to a disputed process in court. Update 3. Man, I need some popcorn for this. Sadly, the bizarre situation continues. The meeting with my lawyer and my soon-to-be ex-wife was yesterday afternoon. She showed up 30 minutes late. She didn't bring a lawyer, and she claims she doesn't have or need one. Instead, she brought one of her new harpy friends. Censored until after the hearing. My lawyer had given me very strict instructions on how to behave. I was not to react to anything they said in a negative way. If they addressed me, I was to respond in a non-confrontational manner or positively if I could. If my lawyer put one or both of her hands flat on the table, I needed to keep my mouth completely shut. So they showed up late. No masks, of course. The harpy, censored, tries to insult me and wind me up in any way she can think of. My soon-to-be ex-wife does the same. My lawyer is trying to get the discussion going on the subject at hand, our divorce, but they are just joking around. They laughed at their own insults towards me a lot. It was real cringe to watch. It's clear now, my wife still believes this is all a ruse, that there is no way I can divorce her. In her mind, only she can divorce me, and only if she wants to. If she does, she will get everything. I just sat there thinking, what the F is going on? I didn't actually say anything of substance. I only responded a few times, and it was along the lines of, yes, you are probably right, or I really don't know. Finally, they ran a bit out of steam. My lawyer got the word and started putting forward the proposed settlement for an amicable divorce. One of the first things she said was that I was willing to be generous for a quick, peaceful resolution, that I would pay her a large lump sum of $60,000 for the equity in the house and investments, etc. My lawyer didn't even finish this sentence before my soon-to-be ex-wife got all excited together with her harpy friend. Nudged on by the horrific-looking harpy next to her, soon-to-be ex-wife wanted to know where to sign. My lawyer asked several times if my soon-to-be ex-wife didn't want to go over the rest of the agreement first, but no. Soon-to-be ex-wife wanted to sign right away. She started talking about when she could expect to receive the money, and that they needed to get to the pub. So my lawyer calls someone in, whispers something to them, and there was a flurry of activity. An older woman asked for our identity documents, and we are asked to sign the copies. When we were done, the old lady stamped it, and I later found out that she was a notary. My lawyer, almost standing on the palm of her hand at this point, thanked my soon-to-be ex-wife and the harpy and told them we were done. They left, and my wife didn't even bring a copy of the agreement with her. She left it on the table. My lawyer looked at her flat hands and at me. She obviously didn't want me to say anything while they were in the building. When we could see them crossing the parking lot, my lawyer looked at me and said congratulations. Then she spoke at length about how this was the strangest session she has ever had for a negotiated divorce. She told me she would send my soon-to-be ex-wife's copy to her after we did a hearing in front of the judge, or if she gets a lawyer that asks for it. Until then, it's forgotten, in my lawyer's drawer. So it looks like, on the surface, I will get through this divorce a lot easier than I first thought. Soon-to-be ex-wife can still hire legal representation and dispute this. My lawyer told me she would try to call in every possible favor she could think of to get me a hearing with a judge as soon as possible. It will probably be a video call. I have also hired a PI after the advice I got here on Reddit, and he has gotten photos of my wife making out with 2 different guys at 2 different bars yesterday, and she went to a hotel with one of them. so I have lots of evidence piled up if I need it. I just hope it's enough if it comes to that. My wife signed to give me full custody, only a one-time payment, no spousal support, no nothing, just $60K and I am free. Now, I just gotta find the money. I got a plan, and Bob offered to front me the entire amount if need be. I still don't feel like this is real. I fully expect her to pull, "Here's my aggressive lawyer and I am accusing you of molesting the kids and domestic abuse," out of her hat. Lawyer told me to keep a very low profile, pay for everything I normally pay for, and don't rock the boat in any way at all. The advice is, don't talk to anyone we both know. Just sit still and wait. Don't respond to anything. Basically, zero initiative until the hearing. So now, all I need to do is be patient and hope for the best.